Okay, we are going to use make.com to automate an image. So we'll go to a webhook, Airtable, OpenAI, and we'll ping dall-e to request an image, and we'll get the data back for the image, which we're going to store in Google Drive. Then we're going to bring it down from Google Drive, and we'll talk through that in a second, and then we'll push it back into Airtable. So let's have a look at that just now then. We have a webhook at the beginning of our scenario, and we need to connect that webhook into Airtable. Let's have a look at that just now. Automations we have at the moment, we want to be able to get a YouTube transcript, get the formatted summary, and then we'll have to have another automation which fires when the record moves into a view so that we can go and get the image. The webhook for this particular scenario is this one. So we'll copy that, go back to Airtable, and let's just check on our views first of all. So our publishing flow at the moment, we look at our publishing stages. We have draft content. We grab a YouTube transcript, check the transcript, get a formatted summary, check the summary. And from there, let's get an image. So we'll get a post image. Click out there before we send to Webflow. And why don't we check the image as well? And just for later, we've got sent to Webflow, Webflow draft, and Webflow published. Okay, that's fine. So we need views for get post image and check post image. So we'll save this. Taking a second to save. So that field's updated. Let me just check that because it took a while to confirm. So our flow is get transcript and check, get formatted summary and check, get the post image and check, send to Webflow, Webflow draft, Webflow publish. So we're in good shape there. And then let's add in a view over here. Let's get some more real estate here. So if we just click on the arrow to hide that bottom panel, add in a view. So duplicate view, get post image. We'll filter that to get the post image. Let's put the next one in as well. We'll check the image. Check post image. Okay, good. So let's get some content. So we'll go from check formatted summary. So we need to get post image. So let's do this one. Trash that. Probably from my testing. Okay. So move this post into get post image. So this is the record that we're working with. Let's go to the automations. So we get YouTube transcript, get format summary. Is that all we need? Transcript, summary, image now. So automations. We'll duplicate this one. Get post image. And let's go to the webhook. We've got the webhook URL. When a record enters a view, that's going to be, oops, get post image. We use suggested record, which is the one that we have in that view just now. That's good. Run a script, need to edit the code. The variable stays the same. And just as a reminder then, this Airtable automation is just sending the Airtable ID via low code into make.com. Let's go and trigger this redetermine data structure, or we could run the module on its own, send a test, and we'll watch this in make this time. Okay, that's successfully determined. And in here, test ran successfully. So we'll finish editing and we can turn on that automation. So that's good. The other thing we should do is let's go grab our helper so that when we're testing, then we can just send the data in from the helper. So that's an updated URL and we're sending in our record. Let's save. So I'm not sure if this is the correct record ID for the record that we have in the view that we're working with in Airtable. So let's do this. If we go back to the data, go over to the far right-hand side, let's add in another column. And we'll use a formula. So that's just the Airtable ID. Airtable record ID. So if we go down here, so I've just typed in record, show you that again. Type in record in the input and there's a suggested record, which is a suggested variable, which is record ID. So we'll click on that and we actually have to close the brackets. And once we've done that, we can create this field. And what we can see here is that this particular record ends in SJS. And if we go look at our helper, that also ends in SJS. So actually we do have the correct record. But that's just a way that we can surface the Airtable record ID without having to do anything with automations. There's actually not another way to go and find that record. So we've used a formula, a data point in Airtable and set it up to surface that record ID. So now we know that the record we're looking at, the record we're working with, is actually the one that we're going to send in as a test. And just to make sure, if we do run this module only, send in our packet of data, and we've got SGS. Okay, so that's good. First thing is the webhook. So we've set up Airtable to send the webhook when a record moves into that field. And what we're doing is we're building an automation, which is a multi-step automation. And once we get confident with the prompts that we're using, that we're sending out to AI, and we're comfortable with the data that we're getting back, the outputs that we're getting back, then we may think to remove some of these manual steps. And then instead of at the end of our automation, instead of passing the publishing stage to a manual step, we could skip the manual step and say that at the end of this automation, we go to the next automated step. And that way we would still have multiple automations, 3 or 4 or 5 make.com scenarios, but we could bake them into one flow so that each one triggers the next once we're ready to take out those manual steps for quality assurance. And that can come later. Same again, Airtable ID. We are pulling the record in from the webhook. This is pretty standard in comparison to some of the other automations that we built. Now let's look at this one. We've got OpenAI, so we would right click, add a module, search OpenAI, and then we could search through here for image. Could generate an image using dall-e, and to interact with this module, we would have to put it into the flow. But I just want to show you how to add in the dall-e module to generate an image. So we can actually take that away now. I'll just delete that, and we'll work with this one here. So similar to ChatGPT completion, we're going to run the settings in here. Much simpler, less input to begin with. So we'll go with dall-e 3 as the model, and we popped our prompt in here. I want to stay light on the prompts just now. We can update the prompts as we go forward. What I want to focus on is just the setup of the automation, putting everything into place so that it works in tandem with the prior step and the step to come. And so once the automation's in place, then we can dial in the prompts. And that's an important part of what we're doing because we want to get the right outputs, but we'll focus on the automation just now. We have a prompt that says create a realistic, high quality photographic image that captures the world of drumming from a beginner's perspective. And then we've given some ideas on what those scenes should look like. And when you download the blueprint and upload the blueprint into your make.com account, then the prompts will be baked into the modules as you load them in. And so as we update the prompts, we will update them in the members area so that when you load in the blueprint, then it has the latest prompt in there as well. Those are two inputs, the model and then the prompt. And then if we do advanced settings, we can set the size of the image. It's square by default, but I wanted a widescreen image, so we've selected that. And quality, we could go standard or HD. We're on HD just now. And style and the response format, we want to get an image file back again so that we can pass the image file data onto Google Images and onto Google Drive, and we'll talk about that in a sec. Webhook, Airtable records, OpenAI dall-e prompt. And then let's have a look at that just now. If we say, copy this prompt. Let's just run this module only. Okay, the prompt's in there, that's fine. And the YouTube title, so let's grab the title from here just so we can run this test. So let's see what image, or not necessarily the image, let's see what the output is that comes out of the dall-e module. It's actually going to send back buffer data, which is a string of numbers and text. And we need a way to turn that data into an image. And then we also not only need the image format, but we actually need the URL. So we need somewhere that will take the output from this module, turn it into an actual image, store the image, and give us a URL that we can work with because we want to draw down the image and then pass it into Airtable. And we need a URL that is compatible with Airtable. And so we've had to put in Google Drive stop to push the image in, pull the image back down again, and that gives us the data that we need to push it into Airtable. The output from the dall-e module looks like this. So we've got this buffer data, which is a big long line of text, and we go to Google Drive and we say we want to upload a file. So we have this image, doesn't look like an image yet to us. We can't preview the image just yet, but we want to say to Google Drive, here's this data, take this data and create an image, please. So if we go to the Google Drive, let's set that up as well. So add a module, we search for Google Drive, and we can see all of the options that we've got, but we want to upload a file. So upload a file is this one, upload a new file, and then we would have to put it in there. So let's kill that one again. And this is the one we want to work with. So we need to make a connection first of all, and you can change the label here and then sign in with Google and just go through that flow to make the connection. And then you'll be able to update the settings for this module. So enter a folder ID. So what I did was I went to Google Drive and I created a folder called No Code Mavericks. And then if I open the file, these are some of the test images that I'm not loving right now, and we need to update the prompt. But we have my drive and then No Code Mavericks. And inside No Code Mavericks, we've got these images as well. What we want to do is create a folder that will be available to push images into and pull them back down again. And what you need to do on that folder is you need to change the share settings so that anyone with the link can view that folder. If we have any sort of restriction or login on that folder, it's not going to work with this particular setup. So just set the folder to anyone with the link can view and click done. And when we click on the folder, we're going to grab this ID. So we're inside the folder and we want to grab the ID that's there, copy that, and go back to our setup folder ID. We can paste that in. And then the file name, we're going to map it in from this Airtable record, Airtable 3, and we've used YouTube title. And this was automated just because it comes after the OpenAI module. The output from that module was automatically selected there when we added the upload a file module after the OpenAI module. Convert a file, we don't need to do that. And we can click OK. So that takes the image that's created by dall-e, pushes it into Google Drive, and then we want to pull it down again because we want a URL that we can work with. So we add another module. So the first one was upload a file. This one is download a file. We do these settings. So we're connected with the same account, enter manually, and we're going to use the file ID from the previous step. So the upload a file step, and we've used the file ID, it's the very top one, and pulled that in dynamically. And then from there, we're just going to update Airtable. So we'll pull in the record ID and go to the image. So the file URL, and we could add another item if we had to. File URL, click inside it. You're going to map in Google Drive, download a file, web content link, which is here. So we added that one in. I'll take that second one out. We'll only need one. And then the file name is from the name of the file. And we're good. So the next thing to do then is we would want to update the publishing stage to say that we've got the image and we want to check the image. So we'll check the post image, set the publishing stage to check post image because we already set up our views in Airtable. I think we are good to go here. Save this. Right now, we have no attachment in here. And if we go and run this whole scenario, let's auto align this. You can run once, send in the packet of data to trigger this. It takes a little bit longer because dall-e is involved and we're sending the prompt up to dall-e and we'll get this image back again. Let's see how this turns out. So that's run all the way through. Let's have a quick look at these. Output is record. We've got the Airtable ID, Airtable record. We have data back. This is our image. This data here, that's the buffer image that we've pushed into Google Drive. And we've got a successful image set up in Google Drive. Pull down the image, and then we'll pass it into Airtable. So we'll look at Airtable now. We can see an image. What I specifically asked in the prompt was that we wouldn't have multiple scenes, that we'd only have a single scene, even though we put in options of multiple scenes. So we need to dial in the prompt for sure, but this is still a fine image to go with just now. It demonstrates the process of drawing down an image from dall-e, but I'm not happy with the output. But we will continue. So from there, we're going to check post image. That's where this record is going to end up. It's moved from get post image. It was held up because it was selected, and so it didn't move into check post image whilst we were looking at it, but now it's into the correct place. And we've taken our process all the way down to get an image. So let's save this and run that immediately when the data arrives. And we're in good shape. We go back to our records here. Next is we want to send to Webflow.